Most service businesses lose leads because follow-up is happening from memory, text messages, sticky notes, and I'll remember to call them later. Once things get busy, customers start slipping through the cracks. In this video, I'll show you a simple follow-up system that helps you stay organized, respond faster, and stop losing opportunities. I spent 18 years in financial technology, making complicated systems easier to understand for non-technical people. Now, I help local small businesses with websites, CRMs, automations, and simple systems that actually make the business easier to run. Point 1. Every customer needs a clear status. The first thing that breaks down in any follow-up is knowing where each person actually stands. So that's where we start. Status. Let me give you an example of how this goes wrong. Say someone reached out to you for a quote a couple of weeks ago. You put the quote together and you sent it over, and then you didn't hear anything. Now you're thinking, all right, I'm thinking about this person again, but you honestly can't remember if you already followed up or if they told you no, or if it just slipped your mind. So you're not really sure what to do, which usually means you do nothing, and then a job that you could have won just quietly goes away. And this isn't about being disorganized or careless. When you're the one actually out there doing the work and you're sending the quotes, all of this follow-up is living in your head. And your head is already full of the job that's currently in front of you. So the fix here is pretty straightforward. You give every customer a clear status, so you can look at your whole list, and at a glance, you can tell where everyone stands. And you don't need a fancy tool for it. If you saw my earlier video on organizing your customer information, you already built a simple spreadsheet with one row for each customer. Everything in this video is just a few columns that we add to that. And the first one is status. And it shouldn't be complicated. For most service businesses, 5 or 6 statuses will cover almost everything that you run into. Something like new inquiry, estimate sent, waiting on the customer, booked, completed, or not interested. The labels themselves aren't really the important part. You customize them to fit your business. What matters is that once you can see a status at a glance, you stop guessing. You're not sitting there wondering who you already handled and who you forgot about. And more than anything, you stop losing the people in the middle. The ones who never actually said no, they just went quiet on you. And without a system, went quiet turns into disappeared. Real quick, before I keep going, if this is the kind of practical, no-nonsense tech advice that's useful to you, go ahead and subscribe. I'm putting out more videos like this one, all about taking the messy parts of running a service business and making them simpler, without turning everything into some complicated system that requires a handbook to run. Okay, back to it. Knowing someone's status tells you where they are, but it doesn't tell you what you need to do about it. And that's the second piece, and it's the second column that we add. Every column or prospective customer needs a next step. This is where a lot of people's lists become just another filing cabinet. You write down all your customer name, you feel organized for about a day, and then you keep losing work anyway. The problem is that a name by itself isn't an action. Take something like Bob Jones' kitchen remodel. That tells you nothing about what you're supposed to do next. But take that same thing and call it Bob Jones, send a revised estimate with the upgraded cabinet. Well, now you actually have something that you can do. So for every active customer, write down the one thing that has to happen next. Maybe that's call them back. Maybe it's send the estimate, or check your availability, or confirm the booking, or ask for a Google review, or send the invoice. It's one clear action per person. That way, when you finally sit down to work through your list, you're not stuck trying to figure out what to do. You already figured it out. Now you just do it. But when do you do it? And that brings us to the next point. Point 3, every follow-up needs a date. And a date specific at that. The next piece is an easy one to skip, and skipping it can cost you a lot of jobs. Every follow-up needs a date attached to it, and that's the third column. I'll follow up later isn't a plan, because later has a way of continuing to be later, and later, and later. Think about the customer who tells you, hey, check back with me next month. That's honestly one of the easiest jobs in the world to lose, because when next month rolls around, you're not going to be sitting there thinking about them. You're already thinking about the job that you're working on right then. Here's a personal example. I work with a business that sells to fire departments, and a lot of their customers literally can't buy anything until their budget resets at a certain point in the year. So for them, follow up in the fall doesn't really cut it. The whole sale depends on reaching the buyer at the time that that money has become available. And if that follow-up isn't sitting on a specific date, it just doesn't happen, and the work goes to whoever did remember to follow up. And you've been on the other side of this too. You've told some company to check back with you, and they never did. So you went with whoever followed up first. So put a real date on every follow-up. And once you do that, your system can actually answer a question that matters each morning. What do I need to do today? Who do I need to talk to today? Point 4. Keep the system in one place. None of this holds together if it's scattered all over the place. So the fourth piece is keeping everything in one spot. And if you've been following along, you already have that spot. It's the tracker we've been building. Follow-up tends to break down when some of your notes are in text messages, some are buried in an email, and some are on a notepad sitting in your truck. Every single one of those is a spot where a customer can slip through without you realizing. You need one place that you actually trust and actually keep open, where the status, the next step, and the date all live together for every customer. Get it out of your head and into one place, like a Google Sheet, where you can pull it up on your phone whenever you need it. And that's really the whole point. And keep your customer notes in that same place too. Don't put competing notes in your phone contacts, and also in a spreadsheet, and also in some other app. Pick one home for each customer's information, and put everything there so you always know exactly where to look. Point 5. Make it easy enough that you'll actually use it. The last piece is the one that decides whether any of this actually sticks. Whatever you build has to be easy enough that you'll really keep using it. This is where a lot of follow-up systems die. Not because the tool is bad, but because somebody builds something so detailed and so involved that it starts to feel like a second job on top of the actual work. And when updating the system feels like more work than the problem it was supposed to fix, you just stop. And you're right back to running everything out of your head. So don't try to track every little thing. The goal isn't some perfect record of your entire business. The goal is just this: never let a customer get forgotten. And like I showed you, 3 columns on a spreadsheet you already have will get you most of the way there. Status, next step, and a date. If a plain spreadsheet does that for you, then use a plain spreadsheet. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you've genuinely outgrown a spreadsheet, either because you have too many customers or your customers have too many jobs, then something like Monday.com or HubSpot can give you reminders and a little bit of automation built in. But start simple. You can always add more later if you actually need it. The system you keep using every day, but knowing you need to follow up is one thing. Building a system you actually use every day is the harder part, because if it's too complicated, it gets ignored. And if it's not clear enough, customers still fall through the cracks. If you want help setting this up in a way that actually fits how your business already works, check out the first link in the description to see how I can help. But even more importantly, watch this video next. This simple spreadsheet makes running a business 10 times easier. Because once you've got a well-structured follow-up system, you'll quickly realize the value of having all your essential business information organized. I'll see you there.